This is the Black Spectrum Report. Here's the latest news story making headlines.
Let it circulate. Money in rotation. Let it circulate. Yeah, money in rotation. Flowing from out of state. Put it where it work. Never let it.
Feelings known the children victims in this case were there and faced White Feather and Lance. Once again, the oldest teen girl looked at White Feather and said, "I want you to know that you are a monster."
You brought these children to West Virginia, a place that I know is almost heaven, and you put them in hell. This court will now put you in yours. And may God have mercy on your souls, because this court will not. Please stand.
After presiding over 3 weeks of their trial, Judge Mary Claire Akers did not hold back when she had her chance to address Jeannie Whitefeather and Donald Lance before handing down the maximum sentence possible on all of their 31 counts. But before she did that, the kids in this case, the 4 victims and even the 5th child who was considered the favorite, all gave impact statements, both spoken and by letter.
And while they don't bear physical scars, it is exactly right what said and the state said, that they will bear the psychological scars of what was done to them by you, Jeannie Whitefeather, and you, Donald Lance, for the rest of their lives.
The children, who we did not film, all detailed the years of abuse and labor and what impact it has had on them today, both psychologically and emotionally. The oldest teen girl even asked the judge if Whitefeather and Lance could be forced to stand with their hands on their heads throughout the hearing, similar to how Whitefeather and Lance would have the kids stand all day when they lived in Sissonville. The judge denied that request, noting the irony that it would be considered cruel and unusual for her to ask the defendants to do that in court, even though it was done to the kids in their home. Judge Akers instead opted to keep the pictures of them up as they spoke.
They all said today that they're still afraid of what will happen to them if they upset someone.
The kids all talked about how their lives are better now, but they will never be the same. At one point, the teen girl looked at Whitefeather and said, "You are the actual definition of a monster," and said that they were not just physically abused, but full out tortured. When given the chance to address the court, typically a time for apologies, Lance only said that he loved the children. Whitefeather said that she'd made mistakes, but never did anything to intentionally hurt them.
And instead of apologizing today, because you never have said you're sorry, even though, Miss Whitefeather, you say you made some mistakes, but you're not sorry for them. And Mr. Lance, I didn't hear you apologize either when you had the opportunity. But what you did do was put on one of the most reprehensible, narcissistic defenses that I have ever seen in my years of trial work.
Defense attorney Mark Plants, who represents Whitefeather, said throughout the trial and even now she still denies any criminal responsibility.
My client's side of the story hasn't changed. It really has been that they did the best they could under the circumstances and they didn't intentionally harm anybody. So I'm not surprised that they spoke their hearts, even though a lot of people disagree with it. That's their story, and that's what they've told.
The children also thanked everyone who got them out of their situation, the neighbors, the deputies, the prosecutors, and now the judge. Judge Akers, in her remarks, also commending the Sissonville neighbors who repeatedly reported Whitefeather and Lance in Sissonville for months before their arrests. She called that the one good thing in this case.
But the good in this is the people that took action here in the state of West Virginia. The good in this is that now these children are West Virginia's children and not your children.
Now, both Whitefeather and Lance brought forward motions for new trials today.
Is this a case of system failure and child protection, or race and power dynamics? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is the Black Spectrum Report.